All right, if you guys are ready, gonna hop into game number 1.
Let's do it.
Medius is saying he's not sure who. One of is a lot louder than the other.
Well, let's test it. I'm Neblime, so if I'm the loud one, Neblime's too loud.
Yeah, if it's me, then that's Avanhokie that's too loud.
And I'm Gorgonoth. I think, yeah, it might be a little bit quiet. It's gonna lag for just a second. I tabbed out to adjust.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever I tab out, it lags for a sec. Okay, so hopefully that is fixed. Gorg, I'm too quiet. Okay, raise myself. Hopefully that's fixed. Should be. I'll move a little closer to the mic as well. Alright, without further ado, jumping into game number 1 of our first set here. In the top corner of Circuit Breakers, we have Yo, my name is Joe as the Orange Terran. And also in the top corner, we have the brown Protoss Wishbones.
So, I wonder what they're going to go for in this map. Circuit Breaker's always, you know, supposed to be a pretty long macro-oriented map. But T3, anything can happen.
Yeah, because obviously, aggression is very common at lower levels of StarCraft.
Already we can see Joe's not going to set up a SimCity for a Rax Fast Expand. Although, like I said, it's Tier 3, so maybe he could be doing it that way anyway.
Yeah, a lot of times the typical things that we see with maps, at this lower level Tier 2, it's almost like all bets are off. Players come in with unique playstyles and don't always play to the advantages of the map. That's something that I think is important for these players to learn. But I think at the Tier 3 level, we will see a lot of times the typical things we see in map not always, they're not always going to be the case for what's actually played.
And I think it is nice, in this cast, we do have a person very familiar with Terran. I believe you are a Terran player.
Well,
so we do not just have, we do not have just double Protoss, which we would have if it was just me and Gorgo. So being able to tell, you know, what's going on from a... Obviously, we all know StarCraft. We know when good and bad things are happening, but having a more intimate Terran knowledge.
I like that. Intimate knowledge of Terran. Well, I think very familiar is a bit too kind. I'm still learning, but hopefully I can shed some insight. Well, honestly, my opinion on this map as a player is, I don't know, I just can't make it work for me because the middle is so open, and I find it actually quite hard to defend the middle only without sort of overcommitting units there.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, PvT on this map, it's similar. The open is so big that it's easier for the Protoss to get some really nice angles and engages.
Yeah.
But then conversely, once the Terran pushes out, and if they get a good seated position at like the plateau of the 3rd, for example, they can get a really strong position that's hard to hold because of the wrapping around of the units. So it's tough for the Terran to push out in a later game, macro-wise. But once they do, they can kind of section off the bases, and it can get really hard.
Yeah, it looks like they're both going for pretty normal openings so far. And Wishbone's getting the scout in just before Joe does, but they're going to see neither of them doing anything crazy.
Yeah, I think, obviously, nothing too... We're just having a factory come out of Joe and Gateway Cyber.
Yeah, and he pulled off gas, so I expect to see a command center very soon. Remains to be seen if he's going to make more Marines and try and do a sort of FD-style push.
Yeah, did just add the machine shop.
Yeah,
the interesting thing...
Sorry, you go.
Yeah, interesting thing about this map, well, I find it interesting, is I do think it is easier in a macro game for a Terran to get a forward base, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Well,
So
Joe's going to try and sneak in another scout here. And he gets up the ramp, but unfortunately there's nothing really to see, but maybe that's information in and of itself.
And we might see maybe a Nexus coming out, based on the mineral count, but you never know. The SCV is still alive in the top left.
Yeah. It's gonna
but
go
it
down
should
now,
die.
though.
Yeah, it should go down. Wait.
I think definitely a Nexus is the move Wishbone's wants to go for here, because Joe is just doing straight up siege expand. He's not going straight for mines or anything, or doing an FD style push. So there's not really anything Wishbones is going to make happen with his 1-gate Dragoon.
Yeah, and I think we will see 28, okay. So 28 next is pretty much the standard play for Protoss in PvT. You know, 3-gate into obs, or not necessarily 3 gates, but at least 2 usually. Sometimes we can see 1 gate, 3 base expands. But a 28 next into 2 or 3 gates is typically what we see. It's pretty safe against an FD and things like that. And you get a pretty fast Nexus, although this time Wishbones' Nexus was delayed because his spending hasn't been too good. He's banking a lot and his probes have been not really on point.
I'd just like to point out that Joe's going for the Academy before a second factory, before an armory, so he's going to have scans with us. Oh, did you see that pylon block?
Yeah, pylon block on the command center here. It will go down shortly.
If he doesn't cancel it, that's totally not worth it. I don't know. I think if you don't cancel, it's not quite worth it, because Terran can still just land a few seconds later.
We do have Vulture speed coming out of Joe here.
Before mines, that's interesting. Well, he wants to be kind of in the Protoss face, trying to sneak and get those probes.
We'll have to see. We have a second factory coming up. Still, okay. Two gates now, and a robo coming out of Wishbones.
Up to 3 now.
Yeah, so this is a pretty good style. I mean, 2 base into Reaver here is definitely
a heavy Maynard of the probes there.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
He really wants to mine that natural.
That's what happens when I Maynard my probes. A scan coming down, sees the robo.
Yeah, he sees everything. Protoss can't hide from Terran map hacks. So he knows Protoss isn't doing anything too crazy. We'll see if he's going to go for the... Oh, he goes for the armory. That's just what I was about to say. If he's going to go for a sort of longer term play here with the armory, or throw down more factories and try and make a push out of it. But it looks like he is going to go for the upgrades.
Probe headed down to the bottom left. Could this...
Yeah, it could be a secret base. That would be quite strong, if not scouted, obviously.
Nah, maybe just a little scout. Unsure about that one.
Vultures with speed are out, but Wishbones is definitely locked down at the front. I think we're just going to look around and see if there's any extra bases around. That probe is lucky it came like this late. If it came a little earlier, it would have been picked off.
I think he's just looking for additional bases here, but...
Yeah, I like that. It's a good move doing that scouting, because you never know Protoss being sneaky.
Yeah, this game, Wishbones, sorry, your name is Joe, or just Joe. He's pretty on time with his build, or at least he's a bit more on time than Wishbones. Wishbones has been missing a lot of probes. His probe count is a bit low, and he hasn't been really on top of his game production, too. So, his third should be done way before Joe's, but it's looking like he's going to try to make something happen off of 2 bases, might push out, but if he delays the third too much longer, then
I think
Joe
this probe gets sniped.
So
That's going to make the third.
Yeah, that could be a great pickoff. And Joe has, in fact, almost finished his third command center as well. So I think he's looking in a really good position at the moment. Plus one going.
eBay Armory.
Boom goes the probe, and any hope for a third base.
Heading out without the observer.
Oh. Okay, well that does some damage.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we'll have to see.
He's going for Citadel now, so maybe he's going for something like 2-base Arbiter.
Well, I think he wants the third base. He's just having some trouble setting it up. He's setting another probe now, but he still hasn't cleared that one mine.
Yeah, and if these vultures do it right, they could buy those dragoons if they had.
Yeah, they're gonna be so annoying for Protoss if you just pick off the probe again and again. Looks like Wishbones will end up blocking it off and starting that next or so. But at the same time, the CC for Joe is floating out.
Oh, the probe almost died to the spider mine.
Oh, that would have been so brutal.
Yeah, we do have a starport coming up now for Joe. Could just be for, you know, if he thinks an Arbiter is coming, could be...
I think it's likely he's just getting it for science facility and upgrades and probably science vessels eventually, because his +1's well on the way. And even slightly before this is when you want to get it for the perfect +2 timing. So he might go for something crazy like a drop or like faster science vessels, but I think he's just going to go for the upgrades initially.
Yeah, for Wishbones, the third timing is late. I think the ideal third timing for Protoss, if you don't get it fast off of the 1 or 2 gates, if you're on 3 gates, usually want to get it at about 10 goons. Other than that, right now he actually has almost 2 control groups of goons, so that's been delayed so much. And I mean, Joe has his base up faster, and then PvT. This pretty much means the Protoss is going to die quickly to the Terran.
Yeah, I'm worried if Wishbones doesn't make something happen, the Terrans are going to power up and smash it and just make a nice Okay, he's throwing down the Templar Archives now. No Stargate yet, so it's going to be Arbiter. It's still a ways away. You're not sure if Joe's going to wait all the way till it's max to push a bit sooner, but I think Wishbone's definitely under threat right now. There's that beautiful main hub, some more probes.
Man, this is so heavy.
Oh wow, that was more than I thought. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Just got a lot of...
mine up the map more. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, a lot of vultures coming out, getting mines placed. 4 factories pumping out.
Looks like Joe's going to push through the 6 o'clock, which is quite dangerous for Protoss because it's not far to your main from there. Maybe he just wants to take this base, but either way, he's going to have a very close position to Wishbone's base if he takes this 6 o'clock location, and Bones isn't really in a position to deny it either.
And even if he did, he has he has pure Dragoon here. So the Zealots are just being made. They might come out with speed though if he has upgraded that already, which hopefully he has.
Yeah, you're right. Wishbone's only now producing Zealots, and his gate count's a bit low as well. And he's getting his Templar attack as well. So usually you want to stop goon production without 2 control groups. He's done that, but it's so late that he should have had control group Zealots out by now at least.
Yeah, I think
this is trying to cause some trouble, but I'm worried they're just going to get blown up here.
Yeah, so it looks like the position Joe's taking, it looks like he's not trying to attack here, he's trying to expand to this 12 o'clock.
Well, he hasn't started a CC yet. I think maybe he's going to do like a slow push through here.
He could. But he was building a supply depot to block off.
Oh, was he? Oh, right. You're probably right then, actually.
Yeah, which obviously is a very strong position on this map, because you can block it off with supply depots, and then it becomes so difficult unless, you know, you're going in with mass shuttles or Arbiter and recalling there.
Speaking of Arbiter, the Stargate is finally going down. And yeah, as you predicted, there's the full CC.
Yeah, and I think that's a good move. We have a probe trying to make a 4th base, but spider mines are blocking the bottom 2.
Oh, such a good move to get those spider mines out early. It's screwing up the Protoss so much.
He may take the bottom left, though. No, I guess
I'm not sure. I think he's just scanning in, but I think Joe's sending a vulture to mine the 12. Sorry, the 6. I've been getting 12 and 6 mixed up this whole game, I just realized. Maybe he's going to stop that probe in the bottom right as well.
Yeah, just mining that up. Always a good move.
So despite what we were saying before about the economic situation, Wishbone's still in the slight supply lead, actually.
Yeah, he's done an okay job always pumping out of, or usually always pumping out of his gates. But okay, we had a shuttle come in. I didn't see what it, but it took a couple
it didn't get anything done. A turret chased it away there. He's just trying to see what he can get. Always worth it if you can pick up a couple of tanks here and there.
And so we drove the 4th base down.
Oh, he did get it down. Good for him.
But obviously well behind the Terran 4th.
Yeah,
now
same as the 3rd.
Yeah, the Arbiter tech is quite late as well. He's been okay on his gate production. He has a decent army.
Ooh,
but he
loses the shuttle at 12.
And he dropped the Zealot on the wrong side of the fence too. Oh, poor guy. Oh, there he goes. A bit of a loss there.
Yeah, it always hurts to lose that robo build time, but we've got a bit of floating coming out of Joe now.
Yeah,
And now
well,
he's getting it down a bit.
if you notice,
We do have
Wishbones
good
actually
observer
has...
view over the
Wishbones actually
factories.
has 2,500 gas, so...
Ooh, nice storm drop at the natural of Wishbones.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That was
How many
nice.
did you get? Oh my gosh, did you get that many?
The natural was kind of undersaturated, but he still got
Oh,
quite
okay.
a bit of SCVs.
Okay, because I looked at that and thought, wow, how many must have died? But yeah, good job. Still a zealot lurking in that shuttle. Wonder if he's going to do anything with that.
Yeah, one of the issues with
Oh,
this... when
he's
the
going
fast
at the
forth-
12 as well. He's got a shuttle at the 12. Is he going to do it? Here he
Here
goes.
he goes.
We do have. Oh, let's see this. Storms.
Oh,
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, brutal. Whoa, that was pretty good.
But he will lose the shuttle.
Well, it was empty at
However-
that point, so I think
Yeah,
he
yeah.
just commanded it there and forgot about it.
Yeah, obviously a nice harass move.
Yeah, these moves are huge, actually. At this point, so many CVs have died. I would say maybe even Wishbone's economy is superior, getting that force set up as well.
And we do have the first arbiter being started.
Looks like he wants to go again. Oh my god, that could have been amazing. It was still pretty damn good. Did you see that mine drag? He dropped a zealot right on the army on this high ground there, and 2 mines got dragged in, almost blew up everything. They ended up damaging a lot of vultures in the tank though, so it was totally worth it. This
There are
shuttle,
2 High
yes.
Templar in the shuttle.
There are. The shuttle
That
are
that
so
entire
much
army
done.
is. Yeah, that entire army is on top of mines.
Oh gosh. He's flying away though. I think he's missed his chance with those particular mines. And also,
Yeah.
when it's not a zealot, it can get picked off so quickly. It's hard to actually get those to go off.
Yeah, exactly.
okay, so here's the situation. Wishbones is moving out... I'm sorry. Joe is moving out onto the map. He's going to be maxed very shortly. Now he's maxed, and Wishbones is going to have to get a perfect engagement here. Oh no, it looks like he's going to be attacking into this without our...
But the Terran is
pretty much
unsieged.
suicide.
If he can get those storms down, I don't know where his shuttle went. It could still work
Yeah.
because the Terran is not sieged.
It's trickle though.
Yeah, he's just sieging up. We're gonna have to see. There are shuttles dropping. Oh, those
beautiful.
mine
Oh,
drags,
oh,
those
the
storms.
Those are so
Oh.
good. I can't believe
Yeah.
he pulled that off, but still, you're right. Trickling in those units was just so inefficient that he still loses the battle.
Yeah, those storms and the mine drags are pretty much saved in there, because otherwise the damage was going to be very little.
Protoss has plenty of money to remax and income to boot. It's just a question of can the Terran get something done before he does.
Also, issue here is production facilities. This number of gates isn't
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
sufficient to be remaxing.
Yeah, he's got 7 gates. He should have maybe 15 in the main, and already working on gates up in a secondary main here at this point when Terran's on 4 bases. You can't get it done with that much. So Joe, honestly, he can take his time, just pushing across the map, sieging up. The Arbiter's
Standing
out
at-
now, but it's going to be forever before they have mana for a stasis.
Now,
They got
sending
a
out
couple of
tanks
tanks
one
now.
by one. Yeah, sending out tanks one by one isn't gonna help Joe, but
Oh, taking some bad tank hits though. This is pretty much only Dragoons, and they cannot engage that. Even with a perfect stasis, I don't think Protoss can engage this right now.
yeah, he really needs to get more gates up. He's double stacking units in his gates because he can't produce.
Well, he has a lot of Dragoons out, but not much else.
And more is coming. But now we do have Zealot production cycle coming.
He is putting down a couple more gateways in his main, so he's adapting to the problem. Oh, he comes in engaged, but I don't think it's the engaged Protoss needs.
Wow. Joe's
3-2
control's been
finishing
so
for
nice.
Terran. 3-2 is done for Terran, so he actually has crushed it. Yeah, he's been engaging really well. I mean, the first engagement wasn't siege, but this one was just the perfect angle, really. The Vulture's blocking everything, and those tanks so spread out, just crushing this Protoss army. Still, Wishbones
Yeah.
has the huge bank, but Terran's just going to dominate the map before he can do anything with it, I think.
Yeah, and he's gonna lose this base at the 3, so...
Yeah.
We do have Zealot bombs loaded. I think it's gonna...
There are
hit
3 Goliaths, no, 5 Goliaths available though. In that range, this could get something done, but not all the tanks are siege, so it doesn't look that bad for Terran.
Okay, Goliath's going down one.
Ooh,
Drop
loses one really
Yeah.
early.
Oh, those mines could have been good if only he was able to get the Zealots out quickly enough. But yeah, those unsieged tanks are pretty good at dealing with that, actually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we've got a 5k mineral bank and about 4k gas for Wishbones. You really can't beat a Terran with this little production. Especially, yeah, Joe's been on top of his engagements. He's been macroing really well.
Yeah,
Most of the
really on
supply
top
he's
of his
lost
macro,
throughout this
actually.
has been vulture supply, honestly.
Yeah, and look at his main setup. He's got a really nice setup of all the factories he needs. Really liking this play out of Joe. Taking a 4th behind this, looking really strong actually.
5th.
Oh yeah, 5th even. Wow.
Yeah, so obviously, and we only, throughout this whole time, we've only had a 4-base Protoss. We've only had him even. Obviously, he just lost the 3, so now he's behind.
And he
2
wanted
bases.
to take that 5th, but didn't deal with that mine in the end. He's
So
really
then he
trying to move
doesn't,
out
he
from his
didn't even,
natural. No, he has
Yeah,
no
yeah.
observer! These units could all die to mines!
Oh no.
Oh gosh, so many zealots dying there.
Yeah.
Ouch.
and
He really needed those.
yeah, the real issue here, was not getting that, it was as much as getting the 5th up, he did not get the gates and the additional
Yeah,
bane.
yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying, after that shuttle harass, he had a good economy, but couldn't quite pull it off. Does he have stasis? Because the stasis could be huge here. Looks like even if he does have stasis, he's not going to be casted in time. Oh, he's just started researching, I just noticed.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, he's got enough mana for stasis on both those arbs.
So Protoss is about to mine out from both his bases, then what has he got going on? He doesn't really have much left in his favor after that point. Terran's still just powering up.
Yeah, this is GG. Really nice job from Joe. I think he's definitely going to be an upper tier 3 player here. We'll see throughout this tourney if he continues
Yeah,
to
looking
dominate
incredibly
like this.
solid this game, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is looking, yeah, this looks very strong.
He made 3 armories, though, so I point that out. You gotta upgrade that air armor, make your silence vessels last longer or something.
It's true. Yeah. It's like Protoss get their Arbiter armor.
Oh no, guys, I have the meta strategy. You make 4 armories, right? One of them you double upgrade mech, the other one you upgrade air things, so when the Protoss drops with a Reaver or something and tries to kill them, he just gets the one of upgrading air and you don't care.
Oh,
That's the
sick.
new strat.
It's a
I'm gonna
bluff
do that in my
armories.
games now.
And you have them in 2 separate places, and one of them at each place upgrades one
Yes.
of the upgrades.
This is the status going down, but it's too late. I think Protoss just melts here.
Yeah, we've got a massive supply lead for Joe, and a tank count that outnumbers the Dragoon count.
Well, one sometimes there's a stasis and the other is down though, so in theory you can get something done with the cloak, but scans will come down. Nice little Arbiter fleet he has, at least.
That is true. He has been pumping the Arbiters out of 2 Stargates. He's not making them now, though. Actually.
And there is
Yeah,
the
and
scan,
he's
that's all he needed.
Yeah, he's kind of attacking into this with mostly Vulture Goliath, but now the tanks are coming down. Ooh, couple massive stasis.
Whoa, yeah, that is a really nice stasis. But at the end of the day, the Protoss doesn't have enough army behind it, it doesn't matter, you can stasis as much as you want. And now he's running out of his bank, and like I said, mining out just now, so this must be the end for Protoss.
Yeah. I mean,
because he's tried to retake this 3 and it's being denied by a couple tanks.
I feel like this game is pretty much over. Just take a second to talk about stasis. In a PvT engagement, you want to stasis the back tanks, because otherwise you're hitting in the front.
Zealots can't reach them.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
Dragoons.
Front stasises can actually end up helping the Terran more than they even help you. So you want to try to get them in the back, land storms in the front if you're going for the pure storm stasis style. Stasis in the front, really not that effective. And honestly, I recommend going recall, because it can be really strong at lower Terran levels. They don't quite have the multitasking to deal with recalls all the time.
Oh, these Dragoons are just gonna get splashed here right away. Oh, another beautiful stasis, man. Now
Yeah,
that he's
his
got it out, he's
stasis
casting them so
usage.
well.
Yeah, his stasis usage has been pretty strong,
But like
but
you were just saying,
it just
Gorgonoth,
came too
yeah.
late.
He's hitting the front tanks, and this back group will just finish it all off.
Yeah, as soon as those unfroze, they just splattered the Dragoons.
Alright, so solid macro game there.
Yeah,
solid from Joe.
hosting with 18 viewers. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And Sonic Reaver in the chat. How's it going, man?
Yeah, that's more viewers than we have. Nice.
Yeah, so that game, I feel like for most Protosses at this level, I would just recommend going for recall, because you can come back in a lot of games where you're behind, and if you don't have super great gate macro, with recalls. Just keep recalling into the mineral bases and cutting down the economy. I feel like stasis require a little bit more finesse. They're higher micro than just recall. Recalls are pretty basic. So I would say go for recalls at lower levels, especially because Terrans will have a tough time dealing with them. And stasises are easy to really not be effective with.
So what do you think about recalling on top of the army?
It can
The Terran
work.
army, that is.
I would say most of the time, if you're behind, just recall to the bases, because then you can get damage done and just wait for their army to slowly get whittled down. If it's pretty close, recalling on the army can be pretty good, especially if you know there's mines.
That is what I found in my games. When you're in a really small army situation, like you're in the late game saying no one's mining, that's when recalling on top of the army tends to be most helpful.
Yeah. Okay, so game number 2 is going to be on Autobahn. Now, I have some thoughts about this map. This
Me
map
too, but you go first.
is great for Protosses, in my opinion, PvT. Because it's so easy to outmaneuver the Terran and just backstab. If Terran moves out, they're in danger right off the bat once they move out. So, and early pressure for Protoss is good as well. This is quite a Protoss favored map, in my opinion. If you know how to abuse it, you can just not engage and just counterattack forever on it, which suits my style as well.
Yeah, I think one thing that's good on this map is if you're going for either one of the 6 or 12, depending on which one you want, and depending on... there's a lot of factors that go into it, but say you take the 6 on this map as the Protoss. You can go carriers, and you can attack their main while defending your base.
Yeah, definitely.
And things like that. There's a lot of tactical moves you can do here, but I think it's good for Reavers and good for carriers.
Yeah, got some thoughts, Neblime?
Yes, I do. I think in the early game, it's very good for Protoss because it's a flat map. Well, not totally flat map, but the mains are flat. There's no ramp defending a main, and the normal Terran response is, okay, I'll just wall in, but you can't wall these mains, at least not without a really convoluted long wall, because next to the cliffs is actually unbuildable for the most part. But I think in a longer game, it favors Terran because, A, it's kind of choky. There aren't really that many open areas. The only open areas in the map really are the areas in front of the naturals and to some extent the high ground thirds there. But at every turn, it seems like there's choke points that the Terran, in theory, could use to engage through and get lucky. And also, around the bases is very open, though, so it's harder to defend from vultures as well. So I think it's sort of... Terran has to get through the early game, but then I think they can definitely make this map work. But like you're saying, carriers can definitely be scary, though.
Yeah, I think the key also on this map is there really aren't that many bases, so the Protoss kind of needs to do a good job denying Terran bases, because it can get split very easily. So I think in the late game, I think you're right, Terran is strong on it, but I think carriers in particular are strong on this map. If you can, like, earlier carrier builds, like a 2-3 base carrier, if you can get into it.
So Joe is going for the smart sim city already. He's got a little slot for Marines to run around there. I think it's essential on this map because if I played Protoss, I'd be pretty tempted to just proxy 2-gate every game on this map because I know Terran can't even wall.
Yeah, proxy 9-9 is super strong on this map. Done it several times. As is 10-15 as well. So, yeah, like you said, early game definitely good for Protoss. I still feel like it's super good for recalls and just counterattacks in the later game, but I'm sure, if you're a good enough Terran, you can identify those problems and hold up those, make sure, be more vigilant about denying recalls. But Protoss is so scary.
I have been recalled on this map, and the thing is, since there's no ramp, it sort of cuts both ways. It's a lot easier to get your army back in here. So I don't think recalls are so bad. Obviously, I see where you're coming from there with how it's sort of a low ground main in a sense that, you can't see above the edges, so arbiters can get in more easily. But I think once the recalls happen, it's easier to deal with than on a map like even, say, Fighting Spirit, because you've got that narrow ramp to get your whole army back up.
The issue is the third is so far away, though. Like, the third on Fighting Spirit is so close.
Like, so in this Terran position, if you take the, I guess you'd call it 3 o'clock base, it's really not that far to walk to get back into your main.
Yeah, I think the upper third is what you want here, is the Terran. I think
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
I think the 12 actually can be taken by the Protoss.
Yeah, I think that's how it has to work out. Because you also want to eventually take the top right as the Terran.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you can kind of end up in a difficult position. I think the taking the 5th base isn't very easy for a Terran. I think they can take in this position. I think they can take the Matral, the 3 o'clock third in the upper right corner. But I think this 6 and 12 are hard for Terran to hold.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Well, let's see how the game goes, I guess. It's actually a really cool SimCity, Joe, I want to say, because before that machine shop was up, there was actually another gap. A Marine could run through there.
Mm-hmm.
So he's obviously prepared for this map, I think. He's thought, alright, if I was Protoss and I lost the first game, what map would I choose? And he chose right. He'd choose Autobahn, right?
Uh-huh.
Looks like he's going to go for an FD push this time, because he's starting mines.
Okay. Yeah, and he's continued Marine production.
Yeah.
So the probe could scout this, though. If he sees that 5 Marine count, he should, be thinking, hey, something's up.
Yeah.
Second gate is coming down.
Oh, that poor probe is going to die. Rip.
Yes.
Let's see if he dies at the same time. Yeah, he did go for 2 more gates, so he won't be in too bad a position.
Mm-hmm. He saw the 6th Marine come up if he was looking.
Yeah, alright. So he knows what's going on, and hopefully he'll be equipped to defend it. Will he send his Dragoons across the map? Because that's sort of essential. No, it looks like he's going to stay as natural. That's going to make it very difficult for him.
Yeah, when you're fighting an FD, you need to have a lot of surface area to back up, take shots. If Wishbones isn't careful, taking this fight right in your natural is quite bad. So I think Joe definitely has an opportunity to get something done here, especially because the gates are late. Everything pretty much in Wishbones builds late. So there's going to be 2 goons here. There should be about 4 by now.
A third one's popping out, but against this army, especially if that Vulture can get good mine placement.
Yeah, actually, the probes also can't drill here. He has no vision, so that will make it especially difficult.
Alright, well here we go. Hitting the SCB at first.
Okay, he's gonna need to pull these back. He does it
That's
okay
a nice
job pulling back that first Dragoon.
Yeah,
but we're
nice
gonna have to see him take down. Oh, kills the mine immediately. Kills the.
Oh, a mine drag.
Oh,
nice
okay.
mine drag.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty nice mine drag.
Well, more Dragoons are going to be popping out. This Vulture might get mines down in time, though. Oh,
but the supply depot block.
Oh,
And
I
that tank
told you guys to
survives
research this map, right?
with 13 HP.
That's
Yeah,
so
that
unfortunate.
tank. Actually, he could send those. He should send the probes over to kill that tank.
Yeah, clean this up, no problem.
Oh,
That's a really sick depot, though. Like I said, Joe obviously prepared for this map. He knows how to play it. Oh, this mine though. Ooh. Oh, the mine's just going to decimate that.
Loses all 3 goons there. Get the tank, but now the Vultures.
These Vultures can just
mining.
go kill all the probes now. Yeah.
Robo's super late as well. I mean, he just actually skipped Robo, so no.
Yeah, because he went for 3 gate, no Robo. Yeah. Prep's trying to hunt down those Vultures. Oh, these mines just destroying any goons that pop out. Well, he could clean up that Vulture, but the Natural's still looking pretty hard to break into.
Yeah, very mined up. Still just Vultures
Nice
coming
pick-off.
across.
Quite nice micro from Wishbones, really, beside everything.
Oh.
Until now. I say that, and then immediately they run into the mines.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good, the first defense.
There's the GG.
Yeah, GG. I feel like Joe is a more true tier 3 player. Wishbones maybe a high tier 3, or I could see him being a tier 2.
You mean the other way around?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wishbones looks like possibly a tier 2 player.
Right, that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
No, Joe.
You're both doing it,
Our Terran player, Joe, looks more like a tier 2 type player.
Yeah.
Wishbones there was looking tier 3.
Yeah, and he was prepared for the map, which I think is impressive for a low level player.
Yeah, because that's also a very new map.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had this pretty similar. I had a PVT this week, and game 1 I lost to a strong FD push. I just had an unfortunate mine pop on one of my goons, and then Autobahn, I picked it and just backstabbed as he pushed out with 2-fac. So
Oh, nice.
pretty good feeling. And then I lost game 3, unfortunately.
Yeah.